Betrayed Afghan troops face return to Taliban. Now, about 200 British-trained Special Forces soldiers are in danger as Pakistan expels undocumented foreigners. These are stories making the rounds there as well. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Australia to have immigration toughen English tests. The annual intake is to be slashed to 250,000 with housing and infrastructure already under strain. And is that what the UK is also trying to mimic? Well. Stop the boat. Okay. Now, UK earmarks 700 million for small boat arrivals to 2030. Invitation to businesses to manage migrants is signed that official sea channel crossing continuing. But well, in other stories making around this morning, mosquito-borne disease risk looms for UK. A study is saying disease like dengue fever could be common if little is done to tackle climate change, report is saying. And then drugs stronger than heroin linked to 54 UK deaths. Synthetic opioids are being produced in illicit labs in China, the UK's National Crime Agency is saying. Well, they have the market here, so they just throw it on the market or flash it on the market, and we have people coming in to get it. Now, Rishi Sunak begins COVID evidence with apology to victims. The Prime Minister, who was Chancellor during the pandemic, says he is deeply sorry to those who lost loved ones and to all those who suffered losses in one way or the other. Whatever it is, lots more going to be coming your way from here. It is Starr Radio, okay? Just a minute to, a few seconds to 11, but let's enjoy this song once we get ready for Mr. Olayomi Koiki. It's Africa's Christmas Praise Medley by Toby Jeff Richards. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you. Stay tuned, and don't you go away.
Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful to Bethlehem. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Everybody, lift your voices. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
This is Starr Radio KK.
So we're gonna join the studio now. Let's take this down. So we're joining the Starr Radio morning show where we kickstart again. Good morning once again, everyone, and welcome. So immediately after Star Radio, I'm going to stop everything because I have other things to do. So I'm going to join the studio in just a few minutes. And I say good morning and welcome. So let's join Archie for the morning show this morning. A very good morning to everyone. So let's connect to the studio.
Okay, some music good for you. Grand African Christmas praise medley there. Come all you faithful, to Bethlehem. I think I've spiced you in this morning. It might be, but let's see. Where I've got Mr. Olayomi Koiki on this morning, where he's going to be joining us from. Well, he's flying on a plane, but I know that he's home. So let's see what plane is he flying on. But let me say, Yomi, good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to you, and I hope you can hear me back in the studio.
Yes, loud and clear.
A very good morning to you, Mr. Archie, and good morning to all our listeners and viewers around the world.
How are you doing, sir?
Well, as you always say, when we are live, we gotta be grateful, and we have to also appreciate life when we are still here. So I'm doing very well. It's been a very busy weekend, but again, it's great to be back, and we are still here doing what we love to do. Giving as many of what is happening in Nigeria, what is happening around the world. But like I said, I'm doing very well. How was your weekend as well?
Yeah, it was quite a busy one, moving here, doing that. I finished. I thought, God, we need to wake up. By the grace of God, we are up, well and kicking. So we thank God, because some people didn't wake up this morning. They are dead. So some
people died 18 years ago, which is the plane behind me. So Soleso plane crash 2005. We're going to talk about that. To survive, I spoke to a mother yesterday, and I'll be telling us what she said. We spoke to her on Wednesday during the Niger Voices. But some information that she said yesterday indicate that whether we have true leaders in Africa when incident of such happen or not. But it is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station. And I'll come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, this is Mr. Olayomi Koiki. It looks like his image is a bit frozen there. I'm not sure whatever is happening there. No.
Okay, let's work on that.
Okay. Whilst he's trying to work on that for us, let's quickly, I want him to talk about that plane, because we would love to know more about what took place there, what brought about the plane crash, compensation that took place, and lots more from there.
Well,
yes.
Well, in 2005, a plane flew from Abuja heading into Port Harcourt. But unfortunately, just as we know, the failure of a society, a failure of a time constraint, these flights that eventually led to almost 108 people died. 60 children died out of that plane crash. It is called the Sosoliso plane crash of 2005. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, was the president as at the time, and Atiku, that has also been contesting, was also the vice president as at that time as well. So what do we know? This flight took out at about 8 minutes past 2 p.m. local time in Nigeria, in Abuja, after the school break away, which is going into the Christmas time. 18 years yesterday. The question is, what led to this plane crash? There was actually another plane crash 3 months before this Sosoliso plane crash that also took so many lives, to the hundreds. But as we continue to read and as we continue to see, the pains and the agony of many of the family that died in this plane crash, justice have not been served. And from the mother that we spoke to yesterday, even the president refused, or for whatever reason, did not visit this family. There's a survivor you know, and that's why they say in everything there will always be a survivor. And the survivor, we see if we can get an image out, you know, let us say to those of us that are going to be seeing this image that she was burnt up to 65% of her body. It's a very terrible fire incident, but many lives would have been saved. But from now looking back, it seems that we lost many people on that fateful day, because even the mother said when they got to the hospital, few hours after the parents find their way to where the children were taken to, there was no oxygen. There was nothing called emergency at the international airport right inside Port Harcourt. And like I said, one beautiful sister, a beautiful, beautiful one, survived that plane crash. And like I said, the image is going to come up. Her name is called Koiki. She survived the Sosoliso plane crash, and 18 years after, she wrote, "Dear 60 angels," which is the 60 children that died from Loyola Jesuit College. And you can see the bunch there. We're going to adjust the camera. She's also sending a message to say, 18 years have passed since the Sosoliso plane crash that took your lives, among other dear souls, while sparing mine and one other as well. We also lost, a church leader that died in that plane crash. And like I said, the mother says, till today, there has not been any justice for the 108 people that died at what is now called the Sosoliso plane crash.
Just looking at the image, the way it just is, it's quite a sad issue there, honestly, because I'm looking at it that so were the victims' families compensated, and those who are alive as well, were they compensated? Have they received anything in the first place?
Well, the mother said, the state governor, as at the time, tried their best, but, nothing from the federal. I mean, I did ask if there's an inquiry that has now been given to them, what led, because there's a lot of different things that popped up that says that what took place was the failure of the engine. Some also talked about the error from the pilot. The plane actually busted while it was landing, and it is because there's a fault with the engine. Was the engine aware? Was the fault aware before the plane took off from Abuja? And like I said, the politician actually took the slot of the children in the morning that led to the children and the other passenger traveling in the afternoon. And you can see that whatever led to the Sosoliso plane crash, one thing is, we have not been able to get justice to what happened. The mother that we spoke to, that was her first son. The son was also a genius from what she said. The son was collecting up to 11 awards as at the time he was in a secondary and primary school. He was the best genius. He would have been 32 years old. But like I say, may the soul of those that passed on, and as we always say, may Nigeria not happen to you. Just before I come back again to you, in St. Port Harcourt on Friday, another young man in the gym got a call from a mother of cultism, shooting sporadically at the resident. He took into his car, drove very fast, which again, we advise people do not drive beyond the speed limit. He actually overtake a vehicle, led into a ram into the building. 2 hospitals rejected him. The third one, he died before that. This happened on Friday in Port Harcourt as well.
Wow. That's a sad one. That's a sad one there. But Yomi, before we run up this aviation incident, now, did the airline compensate the victims? Now, I'm saying that to say that now, before any plane is made airworthy to fly, one of their policies is to have an insurance. So we know that when something of the sort happens, I mean, in this part of the world, assuming touchwood, British Airways flies and crashes, the government of the UK will not pay anything, but British Airways and their insurance are supposed to see to it that they compensate the people adequately. Now, have those things been addressed at all before we come to the States?
As much as, we love to make it very good that, things have been done in this capacity, but Nigeria is a lawless country. Nigeria doesn't value the human right of those that are alive, not to talk about those that have died. What happened is I did ask the mother, if there's any court case. There is a court case, and as you can tell, court case in Nigeria will go forever because it is just trying to avoid certain things. But again, Obasanjo at the time grounded the whole Sosoliso airline, and till date, it seems that not much inquiry has been done, and you can tell that that makes it different from when we look at the inquiry that took place between the COVID that we went last week, Wednesday, when the Star Radio UK was on the ground during the former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. It just indicates what some of us have said, that if the country is too big to be managed, Latvia is 1.8 million, break away from Soviet Union. Nobody wants to break away from a country, but when you are not of the same culture, the same language, these are what ignite. And this week is very important. Nnamdi Kanu returned again to court on the 15th, and we hope justice will come for him.
Will justice prevail? Well, that's one program that I like watching. I like watching lots of documentaries, and one of my documentaries that I like watching is air crash investigation. And I see when crashes have happened, and they have this analysts, engineers, or pilots, or this, they come to investigate the whole thing, and then they come to tell you exactly what happened. And then they can say that, referring that, looking at all the fleets that are maybe the same kind of flight, or if it's human error, they'll come out with that. Was there anything of the sort? Did they come out with anything of the sort?
Sorry, can you? I lost plot there. Sorry.
Yeah. I was saying that there are air crash investigations that goes on when there are incidents like that. If you crash land here, they will still do air crash investigation to find out
what happened. Yes.
Yeah. Was there anything of the sort done?
I think from what I've read, people say that after that accident, there was a lot of changes, within the sector, because there was not any emergency at that airport. More life would have been saved, but because of that, Obasanjo, from what I've told, I did ask, if anyone resigned, the mother said that, the aviation ministers at the time have died, but there was not anything of resignation. Nigeria is a lawless country, because even the bomb that took place in Kaduna, nobody has been resigning, nobody has been paying, no heads have been called for that, but it just shows that managing, praying to God is part of Africa rather than taking the bull by the horn.
Well, but they will tell us to go and pray when blatantly you see people flouting the rules, and you see the person right in front of you, and they say, go and pray. You think that is okay? And when we have all these issues going on in Africa, and people rise up, then we say, oh, those who rose up are not thinking right, and we're not practicing democracy and all stuff. I'll leave that for another day. But listen, it is Starr Radio UK. In our North London studios, Mr. Olayomi, Koiki, here in the South studios, and we are bringing you everything that you need to know at 11:15. Now, Dangote Refinery, diesel, Jet A1, hit market on January, petrol delay. Now, well, we know that he's sourcing his crude oil from outside the country, but come January, it's going to be upstream. Yummy, tell us more.
Well, we've been monitoring, the Dangote, even though, from what the former president told us, gave us the impression that, the oil refinery was ready to hit, the market, and that will literally help Nigerians. Dangote business, is a business, is not, a free bees. So many Nigerians that are expecting that by the time these hit the market, maybe there'll be price changes in the country when it comes to the petrol, when it comes to, the diesel, and also the A1, which is used for most of the aircraft. So the headline, as you read earlier, said the Dangote refinery will start producing what we call the automotive gas oil, also known as diesel, and the Jet A1 for the aviation fuel in January. We've seen the arrival of this huge tank bringing in. Remember, we talked about it that, where is it going to be sourcing from? But it seems that Dangote is not waiting for the Nigeria crude oil yet, because probably maybe of some of the problems that have lingered around the, the crude oil industry in Nigeria for a very long time. So what we've seen is that, in 2024, while the production of the premium metal spirit, popularly known as petrol, will be delayed by the supply of the crude oil installment. On Sunday yesterday, the facility will require a minimum of 6 million barrels of crude oil to kickstart the full production of refinery products, including AGO, PMS, Jet A1, and also the purpose kerosene, or what we call kerosene, which is still being used. But when the refinery got last week was just 1 barrel of crude oil, while they're saying that the 5 million barrels would also be arriving at the facility, which has cost Dangote 20 billion US dollars.
Well, 20 billion US dollars. Now, a single entity or a private entity is able to raise that money, get it upstream, running, and then we are going to be seeing that the whole nation have not been able to do so. And all the 3 refineries that we have are on their knees. But listeners, this is all coming away from Star Radio UK. We're going to be telling you as it is. Anthony Adedeji, once again, good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining us. And also, you watching us live on all the other platforms. We salute you. We love you to bits. Without you, we'll not be here. There'll be no point of sitting here. But we thank God that you are there. And we thank God Nigeria has not happened to you. At least you have life. So there is still hope. All right? Yes. All right, then. Let's crack on. Now, interestingly, moving on straight to the call by the naval chief for citizens to appreciate the military personnel sacrifices. But I say, yeah, it's all well and good. Now, some people are of the view that, well, if they are there, that we need to appreciate them. What about all the things that they do? Here, if in the COVID inquiry that is going on, the former Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister, they were doing everything. They were giving monies to people stay home, and they were doing all those. So we could say that they did some right. However, they still had an inquiry to find out the mistakes that have been done, so that next time they are not going to do that. But this has happened not the first time. We have issues in the southeast where people are bombed, or areas or communities are bombed, and then we wouldn't hear anything, whether there's an inquiry or not, and people are held culpable, or maybe there are some resignations. We'll not hear anything of the sort. But they're saying, oh, let's appreciate them. We are appreciating them, and they are killing us. Yomi, tell us more.
Well, this is actually coming from the Vice Admiral, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, has actually said that personnel of the Nigerian Armed Forces and their families should well be appreciated for their services and commitment towards securing the country. And like you said, yes, it is important that the reason why some of us put on the military attire in this country and around the world is to say we appreciate the service of some of these, hardworking military men that are doing so much across the globe. He also went further to say that he noted that the spouses and the families of personnel should be appreciated, adding that their efforts have enabled personnel to give their best during various operations. Ogala spoke at the Christmas carol that was organized by the Naval Officers' Wife Association on Sunday night in Abuja.
Interesting. Now it's easy to go and we appreciate blah blah blah, but when some of the excesses are not checked, because that's when we had the issue where the police what do they call that? When NSAS, because they were doing well, but there were excesses, and that's what the excesses that the citizens were angry about, and that brought about the end as people are losing their lives. Up to now, with no inquiry reports have been given, we've not heard anything that has been done, so that people can say, oh, we have our trust in them. But well, they are there. They are they're one of the security chiefs, and therefore whatever they want to say, they will say. But of course, we have to appreciate them, because there are some people who are doing diligent work, sacrificing their lives, or let me put it this way, majority of them. But it's not so when it comes to the police, because a police or policeman kidnapped me and collected 1 million naira. So you ask yourself the question: what kind of security agencies do we have, Yomi?
Well, the Nigerian police are just another kind of, police that have not been taken care of. Do we blame, a police officer collecting bribe? There was a particular video that is trending on the social media. I don't know where the woman was traveling from on a motorbike, but she's left different African countries. But it seems that Nigeria will never disappoint you, because when she got to Nigeria, rather than the officer to check her document and make sure that whatever she was bringing across the country, but probably maybe they got carried away, we will probably say an Oyibo woman, was traveling through Nigeria in a motorbike, but not realizing that she was recording every details. And as usual, Nigerian police never disappointed. They collected bribe from her, and the video has now been circulated. We hope this officer will be dealt with. But the question is, are officers being taken care of in terms of, their personal needs? When you see an officer in UK, you'll have to think twice whether, you want to even give the bribe, because it's looking very good. But some of the officers in Nigeria look very tacky. Policeman kidnapped me, collected 1 million naira before I was released. This is coming from Mr. Samuel Shoyemi, has recounted some men who claim to be police officer from Zone 2, Onikon, Lagos. We know that this is going on, and we hope that the Lagos State Governor, the CP, and the IG will look into so many atrocities committed by Nigerian police. It's been going on for years, but it cannot continue when innocent Nigerians are being extorted. This is what led to the NSAS movement, that led to the killing itself of those that came out. And today, when we tell Nigerians that what you need to do, you need to ask for your right, they say, well, you come back home because we are likely to be killed or to be extorted. In what Shoyemi described as both an adoption and robbery, he said that the cops transferred the sum of 1 million naira from his account before he and his wife and family members were let to go. This took place on Thursday at about 11 p.m. the 10th of October, when the armed men invaded his house in Oshiele area of Abeokuta in Ogun State capital.
Well, listeners, what do you think about all that? Do we still have trust in our security agencies? I would say, well, do we even take good care of them? Like Yomi was saying, now, because you see the policemen here, you cannot dare say, oh, you want to get some. There are some people who are dodgy. I mean, that one I will tell you, yes.
Yeah.
But majority of them, let me put it, 90% of them, it will be difficult for you to say you want to bribe them. It will be very, very, very difficult. But the way our police, or I mean, especially the police, men or women, or the police force is like somebody, they tell you that you have to get your own boots, you have to, whatever they are making is not enough. So they'll try to find ways and means to make themselves survive. But what do you think about all that? Olakunle, good morning to you. A lot of love to you as well. He said good morning to Mr. Archie and White Lion himself. Much love and respect. And we respect you. And as I said on the other platforms as well, we want to salute each and every one of you. A 27 River Assembly lawmakers dump PDP for APC. Is it for political expediency, or they say, yeah, money don't come, so now let's straight come, then we can get money, or what exactly is happening, Yomi?
Well, as we always say, they're all the same. It doesn't make any difference whether it's PDP or APC, but they'll tell you that we are not the same because they run different operation, especially when it comes to their manifesto. Just as the Yoruba people say that Bola Tinubu is not a Yoruba president, is working as a Nigerian president under the Nigerian law for the same manifesto of fixing Nigeria. So yes, I mean, it's not the first time that we are seeing movement, especially after election has been conducted, and sometimes it could be for political gain and reason. River State, as we know, is a very, very tough state. The present, governor, and the previous one, Wike, that is currently the FCT minister, have had friction, that led to a lot of, almost infighting in the last couple of weeks. But today, 27 of the National Assembly dumped the PDP for the APC. What is behind this? 27 lawmakers were under the leadership of Martin Amaulu, who is said to be very loyal to the ex-governor Nelson Wike, and you can tell again it's all about the political gain. But the ongoing political drama in River State has been taken very interesting, as 27 members of the River State House of Assembly have now defected from the People's Democratic Party to the APC, or Progressive Party. A member of the Assembly, Emimi George, confirmed this, that those 27 were under the leadership of Martin. He said the decision was taken during their sitting on Monday morning.
Mm-hmm. Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Don't worry, you don't see me, you see Yomi, and that is okay. Now, Moody's has upgraded Nigeria's financial stance, and the analysts are saying that this is going to attract investors into the country. I don't know whether you come by that story, but it's quite an interesting one. With the insecurity, what do you think, Yomi?
Well, there's a different, when these kind of things comes out, the question is how true and how serious can we verify it? Because at the end of the day, those on the ground, we're going to have Bishop Additional, speaking to us, on Wednesday as the Naira becomes scarcity again. And that, again, is becoming something that a lot of people are worried about. We know that the federal government has released the budget up to 27 trillion that will be able to be for the stabilization of the current, economy of the country. We've seen, President Bola Tinubu travel from India all the way straight to, Dubai, from Dubai to Saudi Arabia. It's been back again to Dubai. And all this is because they're trying to bring in those investors. Yes, I've picked up the story because it's actually on the routers. And but the question again is, how serious is a country that many companies are pulling out? Yes, many Nigerians want to see a better outlook. Many Nigerians want to be able to get a job. Many Nigerians want to see not devaluation of the Naira, but it seems that Bishop Additional says that it seems that the dollar as of today is almost 1,000 Naira to a dollar. As of yesterday, the pounds is about 1,000 to 482. But Nigerian outlook raised to positive mood on the reform progress, where the removal of the subsidy has created a lot of tension in the country. Many Nigerians are now asking, where is this money that has been saved? But it seems that the president probably might still be saving enough for the raining day. But like you said, moody change, Nigeria outlook to positive is one of the headlines coming out this morning.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio, okay? It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm bringing the time now to 11:29. We'll go back to Yomi for those stories. But before then, what I'm going to say is no good news have ever come out of Nigeria. Now, foreign investors are leaving Nigeria on a daily basis. The economy is going down on a daily basis as well. So, how did Modi do that prediction or that?
I hope money hasn't changed hand.
Who knows? A few crude oil, barrels of crude oil might have changed their hands there. But listeners, wherever you are, stay tuned. Don't you go anywhere. Yomi is going to bring us the rest of the stories. Over to you, Yomi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Archie. At 11:30, it is still the finest African radio station in London. It is the 11th day of December 2023, and quite a lot that we need to catch up with. Let's first go straight to the expectation this week is a very, very important week again for the Biafrans, also for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And as we have said so many times, is kidnapped from Kenya by the former president Muhammadu Buhari is something that shouldn't have happened under international law. But again, what is going to happen? This new administration will now take from what Buhari got. So let's look at the expectation this week, and most importantly, as the government in exile continue to say that if Nnamdi Kanu is not released, we will continue to lock down the southeast part of Nigeria. Literally on last week, the Senate again spoke about the activities of the Biafrans and the locking down of the southeast, how it is having a big impact when it comes to commerce in that region, and why this administration must literally look into it. According to the Prime Minister of the Biafra government in exile, Mazi Simon Ekpa, have now issued a statement yesterday that the Southeast will again be locked from the 15th of the month up to the 19th, and the whole reason is because of Nnamdi Kanu. So we're going to take a snip of that quickly before we go straight to some of the other headlines. Public service announcement, sit-at-home order, following the demand by the Biafra people for more sit-at-home civil disobedience. The Biafra Republic government in exile and the Biafra de facto government in homeland wishes to notify Biafrans that there will be a sit-at-home civil disobedience starting from the 15th, which is just 4 days from today, December 2023 to 19th of December. The sit-at-home is for the following reason: demand the immediate unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who remains illegally detained at the DSS dungeon, and his next court date is on the 15th. To protest against Nigeria being officially addressed as an Islamic state by the United Kingdom government, as recently pronounced by the UK Secretary for Foreign and Commonwealth and Development Affairs, Lord David Cameron. This is happening while the Biafrans are not Muslims and can never be. We take one more. In preparation for the Biafra...
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one there before. Yeah, I know you want to bring the other one on. But has the authorities in the Southeast had any meetings or deliberations with the what do you call them, the Biafrans? Have they had any meeting of the sort? It looks like we don't care, and there's a lockdown, and then and then it's causing the economy and everything that is happening there. Have there been any exchanges there at all? Any meetings of any sort?
Well, there's a pressure from the Ohanize, to say to President Tinubu, to overlook, whatever is happening from the previous administration, because what we can say is that, the kidnap and the rendition of Nnamdi Kanu should never have happened in the first place. He wasn't traveling with a Nigerian passport. He has denounced being in Nigeria. He holds a British passport, but it seems that, his detention right now is creating more problems, even if the country would eventually have to be de-amalgamated. The process, I mean, it's not the first time we are seeing this happening around the world. In 1991, Soviet Union dissolved to 15 different countries. We've talked about it almost all the time, but it seems that the continuity of Nnamdi Kanu is also saying that the Biafrans will continue to have that civil disobedience, because that is the only way they can engage. But you're quite right. Many of the leaders in the Southeast says they are speaking to President Bola Tinubu, but as the president that have just done his budget for the first time, after 6 months, the test of time will indicate within the next 72 hours when the Kanu court case returned back on the 15th.
Okay, listeners, we'll be following it very closely. But let Yomi bring you the rest of the story, that from the Southeast and the others. Over to you, sir.
Well, let's go straight. This morning again, the CBN, we continue to get worried. It's Christmas time. If I send money to my loved ones, I expect that money to be able to be received and also to be used for whatever reason I'm sending it, because that money does not belong to the federal government. That doesn't belong to whoever is behind the CBN. But this morning, many Nigerians are now already complaining. With the complaint is getting to us that retrieving money from the ATM and the POS is becoming very difficult. Why is that again? We thought that, with the new structure in place, we shouldn't get this happening. The CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria, is now insist there is sufficient stock of Naira notes as complaint about scarcity persists. The question again is, why are we having this persistent in the country when this shouldn't be happening? But like I said, many diaspora will be sending in billions of Naira equivalent to dollar back home. But it seems that the CBN is saying that there is no cause for alarm. It admits the complaint by some Nigerians about the scarcity of Naira note. The Central Bank of Nigeria says there is an adequate supply of the currency. This follows complaint by some of the bank customers about the scarcity of the Naira note. We'll be having Bishop Adesina to speak to us on this on Wednesday, because we are now less than 14 days to Christmas. Many wants to buy the rice, even though it's almost 60,000 Naira for a bag. Many will also want their family to have at least adequate, to sustain them. But it seems that getting that money out now from the POS, which is called the point of sale, and also the Bureau de change and the ATM, even some deposit money banks officials also claim that. I've also been told by another person on the ground yesterday that those that handle cash, the bank is begging them to bring those cash in so that they can make use of it. It just shows that something is not right. But the CBN says everything is under control and there's no need for panic withdrawal by the customers. We'll be monitoring that. But like I said, on Wednesday, Bishop Adesina, our financial analyst, will be speaking to us to tell us more about why we should be worried or not worried with the scarcity of Naira. Well, it seems that Ondo State is still in the picture this morning again. And as we've been saying, if Akeredolu is not doing very well, he should either resign or allow his deputy to take over what is the affairs of Ondo State for the Ondo State and the Ondo people. But it seems that politicians always are not ready to give up until the ghost itself happens. We do not pray for him to die, but the question is, after his return back from Germany, after 3 months of taxpayers' money, he has now decided to live in Ibadan. I don't know why a governor lives in another state and operate from that. But the headline this morning is coming from elder statesman Edward Clark, is now urging President Bola Tinubu to apply doctrine of necessity in Ondo State and allow Aye Datiwa to act as the governor. Mr. Clark wrote a letter to Tinubu, is coming barely a week after President met with the political actors in Ondo State to resolve the political crisis. We've been hearing that document has been signed. I don't know whether Ondo State governor is now in a vegetable state. Maybe he cannot sign those documents, and it seems that somebody has been manipulating his signature. That has been defended that is not true. But the question is, you can't sit in Ibadan operating as a governor. You should either return back to your state if you're fit, and if you're not fit, the best thing to do is to resign. But there is tension in Ondo State as I speak to you this morning, and Edward King, an elder statesman, is now asking Tinubu to adopt the doctrine of necessity as the solution to the current political impasse. Showore is our own. He's going to be going to Ondo State. I believe, I'm going to see if I can get that on the social media, because he's already done his flyer and he will be speaking in Akure in Ondo State. And the reason for that, again, is because he's from Ondo State and he believes that Akeredolu must resign, as he's also saying. But whether Akeredolu will resign and the wife will allow that, some say that the wife is the one controlling the state. But Showore, as an Ondo indigene, is also saying this morning that Akeredolu must resign. Let me go through what he's saying this morning. 33 minutes ago, that was hypocritical that Akeredolu, when he was the president of the Nigerian Bar Association in 2010, speaking on the fate of the late Umaru Yaradua, when his family, led by his wife, Turaya, was using Nigeria to play Russian roulette. Today, Aketi, people are doing the same thing in Ondo State, and that's the same. What goes around comes around. Akeredolu was fighting Umaru Yaradua as at the time, and I have it here even under Al Jazeera that says, we cannot see him. Yaradua. I remember Obasanjo says, Yaradua, are you dead or you're still alive? Eventually, Yaradua was dead in Germany, and they were trying to protect the interest of the northern part and the Kaaba, not giving us that the president died so that the next person take over, which was Jonathan. And today, Akeredolu is playing the same game, and this is what politics mean in Africa. I'm going to go straight to one or two more. 5-year admission ban law graduate student frustrated with the Bez University crisis. Tinubu should consider the plight of private university student loan. I take that again. Tinubu should consider plight of the private university student, include them in the loan. This is coming from Dogara. Remember that he was also one out of those different politicians that have been in power. He was a former speaker of the Federal House of Representatives. Yakubu Dogara is now saying that this administration must include the private university to have access into what we called the, the loan. Before I come again to you, a popular TV broadcaster on the NTA, Aisha Bello, has died. Many of us will remember her as a face to the national broadcasting television in Nigeria. As I have it this morning, she has passed on, and may her soul rest in peace. Popular broadcaster Aisha Bello Mustafa died. Let's see if we can get our image out. Engineer, get that out quickly. Once again, this is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. As I say, may Nigeria not happen to you, as we continue to remember those that have died, especially 18 years on from the people that died. And that is Aisha that died. The former general manager of the NTA Parliament reportedly passed away today. She was among the popular broadcaster on the NTA network News 9 in the 90s and early 2000. She retired last year after 35 years in service. A funeral prayer has now been scheduled at the Central Mosque in Abuja today, where she will be buried. Tomorrow makes it 8 days that Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho's mother-in-law died as well, and we pray for her as well, as she will be continue to be remembered. Also, for the mother of Igboho himself, a lot of preparation is still going on, but there's not a date yet, as many speculation in the public domain right now. And on that note, I'm going to take us straight to what is happening on the social media at 11:42 on the network Star Radio UK. And as many says, there's a lot trending, and I'm trying to say what actually is trending. The Scottish Independent is trending, Not too sure why. Fubara is trending. Amechi is trending. And I saw Wike. I'm not sure whether he's been having a good drink at the chief of staff office, last week while he was dancing. We'll try and get the video on tomorrow. But he says, on your mandate, or your mandate, or your mandate. Remember, he's still the FCT minister, and he's also still a member of the PDP under, this current administration, is the one in charge of the FCT minister. Again, Simon Ekpa said, Nigeria 419 new format. Don't fall victim. Many people call you from Nigeria, and they'll say, there's a meeting. Maybe you want to send us the 6-digit code to our listeners at home and abroad. If you do such, you will lose your WhatsApp and everything will be taken over. These calls are coming from Nigeria, and they're coming from Yoruba, Igbo, and different people. But the question is, if you're attending a meeting, the link should be sent to you. You should be clicking on that link. Nobody should call you and ask for the link or a code to be sent. What they're going to do, they will override your own WhatsApp, and you might eventually lose that. We've seen people that have called us and say, we've lost our total WhatsApp, not just the WhatsApp, they've lost contact. And sometimes it could be frustrating to start telling people, please do not get in touch with anyone because my number has been hacked. That is just an advice this morning on Monday morning, and I'm going to return back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, that's a good advice there. Listeners, Starr Radio UK, Mr. Olayomi, Koiki in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios, and we are bringing you all the updates and what you need to know when it comes to Nigeria. But interestingly, the CBN governor, now he was summoned by the House of Representatives. Yeah, they said that they were issuing an arrest warrant. What has happened to him?
Well, we'll see if that is going to happen this week. Maybe we'll be attending that. I'll be monitoring. But I'm sure it seems that this administration, in as much as the Senate, they're all rubber stamp, he would attend that as against the previous one under the former President Muhammadu Buhari. That was as lawless as anything you can think of. I don't think Tinubu wants to be a lawless president. He wants to abide by the rules, even though we know Akpabio is just a rubber stamp, just as the speaker as well.
Well, that is what is happening in Nigeria. All I'm going to say is what? It says that you can't go on and invest in the country without being sure of the security and economy of that country. Nigeria is a goner. And he says lots of love to each and every one of you and to everyone on all the other platforms, wherever you are listening to us or watching us from. We want to salute you.
And Mrs. Grace Olushoto says, good morning to you, Mr. Frank, Mr. Archie, to the Starr Radio UK, and also to myself. And as well to everyone on board. Also, soon Odu say APC means dangerous groups. So and then so much shout out from Okoya Folayon, Jimo Gasaki, and many of those that are listening on different platforms this morning. And I'm going to come back to you now, Mr. Archie, one more time.
Okay, Yummy. Have a wonderful day, and then we'll catch up later.
Bye for now. And make sure you don't touch the dial, because Starr Radio UK with Archie take you through the rest of the program. I'll be back again same time tomorrow. And from this part, I say a very good morning and bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you all the updates and everything that you need to know from Nigeria this morning. I hope that you enjoyed it. Now, if you have any comments that you are yet to post, feel free to do.
Well, I got to go now because I have another appointment I need to attend to. I hope we've enjoyed the first two programs. We will come back probably later in the afternoon, and we will do our normal afternoon program. Mukiyawa Fatima Mustafa, my mother, Abosede, school player. Thank you so much. Wow, what a beautiful name is that. Thank you so much, those of you that are watching us on all the platforms. If you have missed the first morning broadcast, very, very details, very important, because it talks about the advantage of having a Yoruba country as against remaining in this contraction. Thank you, Nigeria. Nigeria is not a country. It will never be one. And one thing is, we will pull it down. We will remove the oxygen. This is not a violent page. This page is used to educate, enlighten you, myself, many Nigerians, and under international law, we are allowed to do what we are doing, and nothing will stop this movement. It is called the quest, the right of the Biafrans, the Arewas, the Yorubas to exit Nigeria, just as it has been done in other parts of the world. And on that note, Musokwe, Shout out to you all. Akpade Losun, Lagbare Ledumari. Watch the previous program. And once again, to everyone that donated at that 48 hours for Olayomi, thank you so much. And I can tell you, the mobilization has reached Olayomi. Is saying thank you to every one of you for responding to me from my platform. It is my platform, and this platform stands for Olayomi, stand for the Yoruba people, stand for the Babakitoye, and everyone that wants freedom. And like I said, whatever you think about Yoruba nation, it is going to happen in our lifetime. We are a different breed of generation that will pull down Nigeria safely and take you to where you think you should be. You cannot be wherever you want to be in Nigeria today because Nigeria is never and was never a country. It was put together by the British in 1914. Olayomi Koiki, Koiki Media, bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Shout out. Bye for now.